Pac got all his thug stuff from Northern Cali, period. He was hanging with real dudes from the streets. You know what I mean? That's when you start seeing Pac with multiple chains on, about 1,000 rings on, Rolex, because he got that from Oakland dudes. You know what I mean? Nobody in Digital Underground was rocking like that. Oakland street dudes was rocking like that. So Pac got a lot of his street smarts, a lot of how his appearance is, everything from Oakland, straight up. Not from Marin City, not from Baltimore, from Oakland, not from LA. Body the gangbanger, but the swag came from Oakland, straight up. The gangster came from Oakland.
Well, I think we learned from Pac as far as well, my experience. I don't know what everybody else learned, but I learned how to, how to actually rap to women and still be cool about it. You know what I'm saying? Because I mean, that was hard for gangster rappers like me to appeal to females. So, Pac showed me that.
Yeah, I can remember first time when Tupac had got signed with Death Row. And at that time, he was saying that, he wanted to get everybody on his album. So by the time we get to the studio, I'm knocked out. I'm done for the day. He come over there and wake me up, get in there and get on the mic. You know what I'm saying? And that was a song that we did, We Ain't Hard to Find. And that was just a moment that I remember, chilling with my man's Tupac.
The weekend that we shot 2 videos. We shot Ghetto Theme, and last night Tupac directed both of them. And I asked him, I said, man, is all of it worth it? You know what I mean? All the hustle, because he had got so much farther than the rest of us at that time. And I was like, is it worth it? All the stress, all the hustling. And he said, man, to reach out and touch our people all around the world, it's worth it. You know what I mean? And that sticks in the back of my head, is that I always got to think that no matter how tough it is, it's worth it.
Tupac,
you know what I mean?
this.
I think the influence that Tupac had on the Bay Area, it was so big how the Bay Area look at it, because that was like our only artist, you feel me, that was super, super big. 5 million plus sold records, you know what I'm saying? New York got Jay-Z, Biggie, all we had was Tupac, you know what I'm saying? It's a lot of artists everywhere that's from their cities, and it's like more than one that's selling a lot of records. There's so many in Atlanta you can pick from, but the Bay only had that one. That was the only one big mega star that was representing the Bay Area, and we ain't had one since.
The influence Pac had on the Bay, really, man, you know what I'm saying? We really just liked him, man, because he was real rebellious, man. This is like the land of the Panthers. We know that he got a lot of the swag from the Bay. When you look at Pac and you look, that's pretty much Richie Rich, you see. You know what I mean? To us, you know what I mean? Because we know where it all come from.
One of my favorite Pac stories. We on Solano Avenue in Vallejo, California at Studio Tone Studio. Pac come down. You know what I'm talking about? He come down to do a song with us. We like to write on the floor. So we writing our lyrics and what have you. Studio Tone did the beat. We writing our lyrics, and Pac seen us lay on the floor when we write, and he seen us pull out a few boomerangs. So he pulled out 2 boomerangs, and he was right with us. Like, he was already prepared no matter what. That's just how he rolled. And I'm not trying to put extras on it, you know what I mean, and make it look like he was hella hard, because he had a great heart. But, you know what I mean, if he got a problem with you, he got a problem with you, and that's how we are. So I love Pac, man. R.I.P. Tupac.
I was in a studio and I was real heated one day. So I was making this record and I was checking cats on this record. I was just going in on them. And Pac walked in while I was making this record and I played it back and he listened to it and he said, "No, Hammer, no." I said, "What?" He said, "Man, Ham, I don't need you to do that, to really go in on them like that." And of course he didn't use that word, but he said, I need you to make records that make me feel good, man. Have a good time, man. Go on, erase that, Ham, erase that. And the funny thing is, I erased it. I erased it because I had a lot of respect for who Pac is and what he does.
Pac was just a live cat, man. I mean, you can still feel the essence of Pac in cats today, I got to only see Pac like one time going to the Soul Train Music Awards. I seen him coming out the parking lot in the green Lexus. Me and my boys was like, "Yo, that's Pac right there," and drove off. Yo, man, you don't even understand, man. Like, at that time, Pac was like Denzel Washington / LL. You know what I mean? It was like top of the movie game, top of the rap game. Like, this is 94, 93. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
It'll never be another one.
finally, me and Tupac was at the pen at the same time. We hooked up down there in Beverly Hills, went down there with Suge Knight when he had the Death Row going, had the whole world inside his hands. And we were just able to reminisce, collaborate, and represent the Bay Area. That's what Pac was always about, you know what I'm saying? Representing, putting the Bay Area on, you know what I'm saying? Trying to connect dots, dot I's and cross T's. And one of the most prolific individuals that I ever met in this rap game. So I guess when we did the song, Only God Can Judge Me, that was one of the biggest moments in my life when it comes to this rap game, you know what I mean? Because it was so huge, it was so big, you know what I mean? I miss him a lot. Rest in peace, Pac.
The first time I met Tupac was Shock G came to this crib. I had a piano in that corner over there, and Tupac sat on this stairs right here and sat there and didn't say a word. And it was like, what's your name? And it's like, Tupac. And, you know, it's like, Tupac, you know, never heard of a name like that. Quiet cat, didn't say too much. That was the first meeting. His brother, Mercedes, lived right next door to me. You know, I didn't really realize they were brothers. And the time that I really got to know Pac was when he got jumped by the police, you know, over here by Lake Merritt. And they didn't like the way he responded when they called him by his name wrong. He got beat up by them. And I remember NWA was in town. We were at some place and Pac came in. He was bloodied up, real talkative, like, man, you know, these cops is going to pay. I'm going to make them build a school. He was saying this, like, you know, hours after this happened, he was still had marks on him. He was a landmark. You know, he was one of those cats that gave life to the West Coast, especially after he got out of jail. You know, he really personified a lot of emotions and sentiments and spoke a lot of truth, you know, that people were feeling, especially when they felt like, you know, we weren't getting our fair shake in our fair looks. So Pac was definitely a legend, and his presence was felt. And I often imagine like what it would be like if he had been around today. What would he be speaking out on? How he would have impacted the game? Because he definitely impacted a whole lot of artists.
I really didn't know Tupac. I met him when I was a real shorty, you feel me? I might have been like 11, 12 years old, man, sneaking out with the big boys, man. He was out here in the Bay, you feel me, because he from out here, and we had a show at the film. He had a show at the Fillmore with Totally Insane, Richie Rich, RBL Posse, a lot of Bay Area legends that's out here in the Fillmore in San Francisco, California. And a fight jumped off at Scruffle and Pac just went crazy. That boy pulled out a knife and was like, we ain't gonna make it. We ain't gonna make it. I'm finna start stabbing folks. I'm finna start that bag up, finna start stabbing folks. Richie Rich was like, Pac, calm down, calm down. I'm back there, I'm nervous as all outdoors. I don't know what's happening. I just see this guy who turned out to be one of the biggest legends of all times. He in here going crazy. You know what I'm saying? So Pac, like I said before, Pac was hyphy before y'all knew what hyphy was. That was hyphy. When y'all see Pac spitting at the camera, throwing up middle fingers and he was hyphy. You feel me? Y'all just didn't know that word. So don't think that when somebody say they hyphy or they getting hyphy, don't get that word twisted with just dancing and jumping on top of cars. They ain't how I rock out here, you feel me? And Pac was a big old influence on myself and a lot of other cats because he spoke his mind.
If you're a real Tupac fan, it would have been a good thing to know him when he lived in the Bay, before he moved to LA and before all the stories that you know came out, like the young Pac, who was, you know, just he was very much a ladies' man, very much a gangster type dude, and very much a revolutionary all in one. He was all of that to the fullest, and you know, I'm just glad I got to meet him and hang out with him, smoke with him, you know, drink some Hennessy and you know, do some videos and all that stuff. So, one love, R.I.P. homie.
Tupac influenced and became Cali rap because of his experiences and growing up and some of the things he went through far as up north, the Black Party, being on the East Coast, being in New York, being in D.C., coming to California, adapting our lifestyle. He put all that in one, and he was such a unique cat because he was passionate about his music, but he was also passionate about world views and what was going on in the community and politics and all that, and he rapped all that and he talked about all that inside his music.
I think Tupac influenced California music by just giving a visual on the street life that was going on at the time. You know, a lot of people don't know that Tupac really wasn't from here, so from somebody out of town to come out here, and he was influenced by other California inner city street dudes, you know, and all he did was take that and paint a vivid picture, you know, with his words, just to let the world know what's going on in Long Beach, Compton, Watts, Singlewood, South Central, you know, and the Bay as well.
You know, because when Pac came home, you know, Daz was in there in the studio and Pac was in there, and Daz hit me and said, man, Pac is home. And I'm like, yeah, right. He was like, come on up to the studio, cuz. So I'm like, okay. Bam. Went to the studio, walked in. I looked at Pac and he said, corrupt. He just yelled it, corrupt. And he gave me a look that was so piercing because it touched my heart, because he genuinely really missed us, you know. And he was like, you don't know what you did for me when I was in the penitentiary. He's like, New York, New York was all I listened to when I was in the penitentiary. And it helped me to get through a lot of these days and a lot of these feelings that I have right now. New York, New York was one of the things that I listened to that let me know when I do touch down, I gotta push like Snoop in the DPG and protect the coast. And when he came home, that's exactly what he did. We knew Tupac before he came to Death Row. He was a good friend of ours. You know, we knew him when he was with Digital Underground, and when he first released his first couple of records. You know, we remember we did Above the Rim together. Warren G did the record on there that Tupac is on, so we've been knowing him. You know, his best buddy back then was Tretch. Him and Tretch, we used to see him everywhere, you know. He influenced California totally because he pushed for the West Coast and gave everybody inspiration that we can do this.